I bring greetings from across Africa, and I bring greetings with one message. When you look at the intersection of media, or to be exact, journalism and corruption. It is both a pleasure and a critical moment to be with you today, discussing how we can recalibrate the fight against corruption by strengthening one of its most potent allies, investigative journalism. I speak to you today as the president of the Africa Editors Forum, representing editors across our continent who are deeply invested in public interest journalism. Investigative journalism is not just a profession, it is indeed a public service. Across Africa, journalists have uncovered theft, exposed cartels, and held powerful actors accountable. In Kenya, some of the biggest corruption scandals, from Anglo leasing, as you may know, to the NYS, that I believe many of us are familiar with, have come to public light because of courageous, relentless investigative reporting. This work, Bishop and your team, complements the Commission's mandate. While the Commission and the courts pursue legal redress, the media informs, sensitizes, and keeps public pressure alive. Without journalism, corruption will thrive in the shadows. From an intellectual standpoint, journalism, particularly investigative journalism, operates as a public good, much like clean water and much like our functional roads. Yet, unlike other public goods, journalism is grossly underfunded. It remains fragile and is increasingly dependent on a shrinking commercial base or commercial revenues. Why is this important? It is important because we must speak of sustainability of the anti-corruption agenda. We must consider the ecosystem that enables corruption and also the ecosystem that enables the fight against corruption. You cannot sustain public accountability if you do not sustain public interest journalism. You cannot. And all of us must be alive to that fact. By reinvesting a portion of recovered funds into media development through independent, transparent mechanisms, we saw EACC give out a 5 billion Kenya shilling check. A portion of that 5 billion would go a long way in making sure the fight against corruption, as participated in by investigative journalism, continues. This will be aligned, such a fund will be aligned with existing legal principles and could be administered independently to ensure integrity and non-interference. But we could also find fairly sound economic arguments that support ensuring that journalism is funded from the public funds. First is that the cost of corruption in Kenya, as we all know, is astronomical. Estimates have been given of hundreds of billions of Kenya shillings that we lose annually to corruption. So when we recover portions of this money, they shouldn't all go to Treasury. I think the gallant fighters against corruption in the name of investigative journalism must be supported in that. Supporting investigative journalism, ladies and gentlemen, is a form of insurance for all of us. It is proactive rather than reactive, and every shilling spent on investigative capacity could potentially save millions in leakages and ghost projects or procurement fraud that we all are aware of. It's for this reason that the Africa Editors Forum urges that those in power, those in authority, our legislators, but more importantly, editors in positions of responsibility as Madam President here and Joageo here, that we find supporters and we find ways to create laws to enable and ensure that recoveries from corruption portions of them are used in the fight, are used to support investigative journalism. I thank you, and I'm happy to be here.